Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to today's online class. Today's topic is types and classification of farm animals. This is the second part and the concluding part of this topic. Here today we are going to treat digestion in monogastric animal. Let us look at how digestion takes place in bird. The diagram on the screen is the diagram of digestive tract of a fowl. If the bird picks grains by the beak, the grains moves into the crop through the esophagus, okay, and the crop is a temporary storage for feed. Then the feed now pass into the proventriculus, and the proventriculus is a true stomach. From there, the feed now passes from the proventriculus to the gizzard, and in the gizzard there are some small stones or grits that helps to grind the feed in order to break it down. Then the feed now pass to duodenum, and in duodenum bile will be secreted into the duodenum for further digestion, and the bile is secreted by the liver and stored in the gallbladder. Then the feed later move from duodenum into the small intestine, where further digestion takes place. And absorption of the feed is carried out in the small intestine through villi. So the digested feed will now move into the blood stream. Undigested feed will pass from small intestine into the large intestine. As water is removed, the solid undigested feed material passes to the rectum and later pass out of the animal through the vents, and now it is called droppings, that is the feces of the bird. Now let us discuss this properly. When a bird picks up grains by the beak, this feed passes into the crop through the esophagus. The feed is stored temporarily in the crop, where it is moistened and fermented by bacteria. The feed now passes into the proventriculus, where digestive enzymes are secreted on the feed. As I've just said, that the proventriculus is a true stomach. From the proventriculus, the feed moves into the gizzard, where grinding takes place. With the aid of small stones or grits, the feed is ground by the gizzard in order to break it down. The feed now move from gizzard into the duodenum and small intestine, where further digestion and absorption takes place through villi. Undigested feed materials are passed into the large intestine, from where they are ejected or passed out through the vents as feces or droppings. On this, here we have digestion in monogastric animal. This diagram shows digestive tract of a pig. When the feed eats food, the food passes to the stomach through the esophagus. Then it passes into duodenum, and in the duodenum the feed is acted upon by some enzyme, and also bile is also acted on the feed in order to emulsify the fats, that is to break the fat down. Now, as I said earlier in the other diagram, that the bile is stored in the gallbladder and the bile is produced by the liver. If the feed now moves from duodenum into the small intestine, where further digestion takes place. Digested feed here are absorbed into the bloodstream of the animal through a structure called the villi. Now, undigested feed now pass into this large intestine, and here, as water is removed from the undigested feed, the solid part now moved down to the colon, from colon later to the rectum, then later pass out of the animal as feces or dung through the anus. Here, we have in the last lecture we discussed about types of ruminant animal and non-ruminant animal, and we mentioned pig as one of non-ruminant animal, and the kind of the feed here are the kind of the feed that they feed on: maize, cassava, and other basal feeds. Now let us look at digestion in pig properly. It starts from the mouth. Digestion in pig starts from the mouth. The feed is masticated by the teeth and mixed with saliva, which contains enzyme called Ptyalin. Ptyalin converts starch to maltose in the mouth. The feed is then swallowed and then moves by peristaltic movement into the stomach. That is, the downward movement of the feed from mouth into the stomach is what we call peristaltic movement. Now, in the stomach, what happens? In the stomach, two enzymes, renin and the pepsin, are secreted. Renin curdle milk with curdled milk, while pepsin converts protein to peptone. The feed, now in thick liquid form, called chyme, passes into the duodenum. Chyme, as I said, is feed in the stomach that is liquid, but a thick liquid. Now, in the duodenum, as the feed passes from the stomach into the duodenum, these are the things that happens in the duodenum. Here, 3 enzymes are secreted by pancreas, and they act on different feedstuff. For example, amylase is one of the 3 enzymes, and amylase converts starch to maltose. 2. Lipase converts fat and oil to fatty acid and glycerol. 3. Trypsinogen. This converts protein and peptone to polypeptide. But the body of the animal cannot make use of peptones in this form, and it will further be converted. Let us continue. You will see what I'm talking about. Digestion of fat and oil is aided by the bile, which is secreted by the liver and stored in the gallbladder. The bile is a let me explain how the bile look like. The bile is a green alkaline liquid. Okay, it is secreted by the liver and helps to break down fat and oil in the body of the animal. So the bile helps in the emulsification of fats. The feed now in the thin liquid form called chyme. You know, the one I call chyme is when the feed is in thick liquid form in the stomach. But if the feed is in child form, is already in thin liquid form, not liquid form again. Okay, now the child passes into the small intestine. So in the small intestine, the wall of the small intestine secretes the following enzymes which complete the process of digestion. 1. We have lipase. The lipase converts fat and oil to fatty acid and glycerol. Erepsin converts polypeptide to amino acid. So the polypeptide that is converted into amino acid, in this form the amino acid can be absorbed into the bloodstream of the animal. 3. Maltase. It converts maltose to glucose, and glucose is a readily absorbable starch form into the body. Sucrase converts sucrose to glucose and fructose. Lactase converts lactose to glucose and galactose. Let us look at the end product of digestion. The end product of digestion are amino acids, glucose, fatty acid, and glycerol. So these are absorbed in the small intestine by a structure called villi. So when these end products of digestion enter into the bloodstream, the blood will carry them to the cells, and the cell will make use of them. So let us look at, from small intestine, the feed now passes into the large intestine. Here, undigested feed materials are passed into the large intestine, from where they are passed out through the anus as feces or dung. The next thing here is differences between monogastric animal and the ruminant animal. Number 1, monogastric animal possess only one stomach, as we have seen in the diagram that I show you, in the digestive tract of the bird and that of the pig. They have just one stomach. But in ruminant animal, there are 4 stomach compartments. Like in the last lecture that I mentioned the 4 stomach compartments as the rumen, the reticulum, omasum, and the abomasum. So number 2, monogastric animal cannot ruminate or chew the cud. The cud simply means the feed in the mouth. Okay, the feed that has already been swallowed and regurgitated into the mouth again is the cud. So the monogastric animal cannot do this, but ruminant animal, they ruminate and chew the cud. That is, they bring out already swallowed feed back to the mouth. It's number 3. Monogastric animal does not regurgitate. They do not regurgitate. They cannot bring out the already swallowed animal back to the mouth. But ruminant animal, they regurgitate. 4. Monogastric animal has no rumen, but there is a rumen in ruminant animal, and this rumen serves as a temporary storage for feed in ruminant animal. Number 5. Monogastric animal or non-ruminant animal cannot digest cellulose properly. The only monogastric animal that can digest cellulose is the rabbits, and this happens in the caecum. But other ruminant animals such as the cow, the goat, they digest cellulose and the fiber very well, because the grass and the legumes contain plenty cellulose and fiber, and because the ruminant animal have 4 stomach compartments, they are able to digest cellulose and fiber very well. Now let us look at importance of digestive system. 1. It helps the ingestion of feed. Ingestion of feed means when feed is taken into the mouth. Okay. 2. It promotes the digestion of feed, that is the breaking down of feed into smaller substances in the animal body. 3. It ensures the absorption of feed, that is the feed that has been broken down into smaller substances or particles will be able to be absorbed into the bloodstream of the animal body. Number 4. It aids the secretion of productive hormones and digestive hormones. There are some digestive enzymes rather. There are some hormones that helps the reproductive organs to perform very well. So these are some of these hormones are secreted in the digestive system. Then digestive enzymes are secreted in some part of the digestive tract, like the pancreas, okay, in order to aid the breaking down of the feed. 5. It helps in the ejection of undigested feed. After the feed must have been digested, there are some that will not be digested. So these very ones that are not digested will now pass out of the animal or ejected out of the animal through the anus in the case of the goats, the cow, and through the veins in the case of the birds. With this, we have come to the end of this lecture. Read your note very well. Make sure that you do the assignment. Thank you for listening. We shall see again.